Hi, Melanie. Hi, Will. Hi, Ambria. Hi, Lisa. Jennifer, Zach. Good to see you guys.
Jennifer was afraid we wouldn't be here. Don't worry, I got her.
I'm on it. I appreciate it.
Well, just as an aside, we're still here. Anyone who didn't get up their surfaces within the first couple of hours is just so, yeah, get to the museum, but getting in and out of the museum has been a bit of a challenge.
Ice skates out and skating. It's that thick and it's amazing.
No doubt.
Interesting and weird.
Yes.
Hey everybody, I'm losing my voice a little bit. So
All right. We got you.
awesome.
Jennifer, are you expecting anyone else?
I think that's everybody.
Okay. All right. Well, Glenn, thank you for joining us today and appreciate you making to everyone's recovering coming. ICE has definitely been interesting to say the least. Manageable agenda. So first item is approval from the August 8th, and those were shared in advance. Are there any questions or corrections before we? Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Okay. I got Lisa on for.
Aye.
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 All right, great. Both. I'll start with just a brief date. We've welcomed members recently, a previous meeting in November, and I know that we've had another met with Joe and toured the museum, and I'm most excited. One, all of our positions are full. All the appointments have been filled, and more excited about our committee assignments. That those are all. I don't think reviewed these last week with Jennifer and Joe at a really good, solid. As you recall, or if you don't, in addition to serving, we also have to fill committee assignments. So it's nice to have those and I also look forward to when we meet again in person a quorum because we have a full slate of yeah.
Go ahead.
And I want to thank you too for stepping in leadership roles as a trustee. Media engagement, it's really where the work can, it does matter. On the advocacy front, I'm continue to be encouraged by the museum's visibility and the relationships that we're continuing to build. And that's also with our trust across the state. I think it's great, and not just from where they are located, but there are professional and personal interest and how those play out in the work that we do at the state and local levels. And I really feel like there's good momentum there. I know Joe will have an update on that as well. And then looking at how we can continue that advocacy 26 and into 2027. I'll stop there unless anyone has any questions of me. Financial report.
And we are also on the mend for having quorums in our committee meetings. So business was voted on, but we're ready to present and get things approved full meeting. But I'll give you a quick hype that things are that we were able to cover salary increase, state admission. Obviously, have a large donation. Nothing bad to report, and that's the. It's always nice to get a good report from finance, even if nothing we can vote on. So, how about does that sound comprehensive for everyone? Was everyone able to read attached as well?
Yes, thank you, Will.
Wonderful.
It's good to get a good report from our
Yeah. I don't like reading the PowerPoint slides, so I'm assuming everyone could, but if it's on the attached notes, now's the time.
Are there any questions, Joe?
Hey, yes, sir.
Yeah, just complimentary that
That was on my list, but what when that was co-op. You go ahead though. It was
the same thing. Why don't you go first, Will, to make sure I'm not kind
no,
of
no, that was compliment Tim, correct?
yeah, that's part of it.
There's more. Okay.
Yeah, but I have something more to add as well. So why don't
Okay,
you
good. Go ahead.
please.
No. It was passed on that Tim King in facilities is doing a wonderful job with our HVAC work. He did not have to bring in expertise, but he was able to do a lot of it internally. That was on my list to say thank you. It's exactly where it was going to end up. So.
Yeah, so that point one, Tim has good work for us. It's been challenging, but under control. A second, because of timing, but certainly compliments will here, and we'll cover. But of course, back in August, we received the endowment gift, the big endowment gift from Mr. Mariels. That became early September. When we look at 2025 annual fund donations to the Found for, we got the same number, but we actually got significant more money. I think we got about $80,000 in annual fund this fiscal year, last fiscal year during the same number of donations, but at about 60,000. I just want that out there for the executive committee that just because we got this very generous gift, supporters are pulling back in any way.
That's great.
Thank you for that.
The news and can't get it all shared. That's great. And definitely pass along to Tim. See him in person. We certainly appreciate his leadership and all that he done. He's always out, so that's super helpful to have that expertise on staff. Thank us also for mentioning the update with regards to nations, and I'll just mention please that as a board and 100% giving, which is very much apparently matters to the work that we do, and or our staff are talking to folks who are interested in possibly providing grant funds. All right, if there's no other questions for Will, I'll pass it on to you, Joe.
All right, thank you. For the executive, talked about building operations with Tim, but since last board meeting, I believe we did see, despite the cruddy parking lot and roads of Martinsville, she is here today and special exhibit gallery tasks. So she has certainly helped a lot of collegiality. Search for our new herpetologist. We'll be hiring Dr. Jack Roberts, who as at a unions manager in Kimberly. It's a great position, but it's not what he aspires to. But he did a great job with his interview and his in-person visit. So I'm not sure the exact curators between May and August. However, I get the impression he is really eager to move. He could be here sooner. Nonetheless, it'll be great to be up to a full of curators. So we're actually later in full complement of staff. We won't have vacancies. We'll have a full complement of board members, and it's been a while since we've had that trifecta. Very exciting. As far as our capital projects go, the Virginia Beach Waynesboro trailer, which I think passed, is not really going to be a mobile unit anymore. It is the rehab company says it will actually cost more to make it mobile again, but it will be a fine in-place outset for us in Waynesboro. They know that we have Riverfest coming up first week of May. They understand that we would like it back before that, and giving us time as well to populate it with it. So we'll hear more about that, but as far as everything is going well. Speaking of rehab, we have a walkthrough upcoming, final walkthroughs in advance of the first of work, which will involve primary HVAC work into, and again, I think I've mentioned this before, we go to do all of the all at once, not to do floor one and then do other stuff and do floor. We're getting one large unit that will handle the whole building. So that will get started. Again, last I heard, and there's been no tractors in place in May. The other bits of funding that are left over from that phase will go towards more aesthetic things, floors, walls, ceilings that may have been damaged either from carpet removal and so forth, holding the carpet down, to things like a couple of places with some water damage and so forth, and knock that out. It's not on the agenda, but the pavilion is officially closed. We had the fire in here, but told I have to be. So he went through and checked them. As far as we're concerned, that's completely a closed. Have the Starling Avenue Plaza. So we hired a our lot as far as resealing it. That work did some aesthetic river rock lining done. When they resealed the plaza, they used a product. Not they ever asked us about what product. They basically used the same kind of paint, as far as I'm concerned, that you use when you basement or your garage. What this has led to is precipitation. It leads to what am I trying to say? Millions of little blobs of water sitting across the plaza. We have a procedure in place to ensure visitor safety, but it's suboptimal. It was a very small part financially of the project. We have elected not to pay, and very helpful walking us through that. It's not 100% closed out from that standpoint. Ambria, I will need your help. Tried to talk about some kind of settlement like that, but basically shot that down. Is where we stand. I don't know the status of that project, and it's legal.
Nothing to add. We haven't heard anything back since then.
Right. So we are exploring of the unfortunate circumstance has delivered. So so far so good. It's really only a problem again if we have, like, say, rain the night before or something along those lines. Buildings and Grounds has a procedure in place to make sure that we have visitor safety at the top of our list. So since that's a bit of a legal issue, and of course something that should be of interest to the board, I don't know if anybody information on what led to this circumstance.
Spec on anything when they, with a spec on any documents?
When you say spec, they went, basically what they did was they went to Sherman-Williams on a, I don't know, I don't want to put words in there. They gave them what they said, our product. They basically applied. We went to Sherman-Williams afterwards, and look, the whole issue too is that they did not prepare the concrete properly. So that did lead to some other issues, like it not adhering to the concrete.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, I've done that. Yes, that's no fun.
No, there's been multiple problems with this. Interesting advice from Ambria and her experience with construction projects. Anything that would try to extract the money from the country would probably cost a lot more to redo it. Now, unfortunately, this is all maintenance money, and effectively it kills us. But this does.
I've had luck with a product with the drains underneath it, the plastic grid. Well, that didn't exist anymore. If you ever.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we're open to all.
That's what I put down in that type of situation. Right.
Yeah. But it just isn't the kind of product that we envisioned them.
Just let me know if you want a picture across the street and show it to you. But
we didn't know about that at that point.
Sorry. That's
fine. But all that said, if you don't mind, let me the next day or so with Tim.
Sure.
We'll send you an email, and there's any and all voices with experience with this.
Sure.
Otherwise, that project's going. Moving to the next bullet. We've sent out letters. People, from the board, we've asked Tom, as former board committee, submit one, and wide variety of other people. You can just print them out with your letter, send the scans back to Jennifer, and she'll submit ones for the House and ones for the by our lobbyist. Pretty well. To want to mention, and I'm open. We basically have penciled, though every time we get different perspectives, and so we are willing to change these, but we are pulling together and members to join us on February 16th. Will fall on the morning of the 17th, General Assembly Advocacy Day in Richmond. That will include, but we will also have for the appropriate legislators and so forth. We'll be sending out the details on that, but I don't need strong opinions on that time frame. We know that is before it's over. And so, like I said, it will be an effort, and our relevance giving that the school funding as well as considerations regarding Medicaid expansion. But Greensboro project and its movement to the capital construction pool will be part of it. So any input?
You said February 16th, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think crossover, normally those couple days, they're on the floor like a really long time, the delegates and senators. I'm not saying don't come then the actual elected, which I don't necessarily know that's bad or good. That's when they're having to get through all the bills and things.
Thank you. We said over the years, we have basically targeted the LA fourth. Yeah. If we get a change official, that's great, but we do feel the LAs tend to, especially in a situation like we've been talking to the appropriate legislators over the last year, right, outside of session, of course. But as far as the Richmond advocacy goes, the LA tend to target states unless somebody brings something. We can certainly push that up to the end of the week before, or perhaps do it the first week of February. So basically next week. So that there is advantage for us to get up there, say end of next week, and easily do that. Otherwise, we'll keep that date the 16th, 17th.
I think as long as there's not, you don't change it necessarily. Okay. Just like, I know you guys have been up here. It's mostly staff you get to talk to. So I just wanted to give a heads up. Already the plan.
Okay. Yeah, we got a team ready to roll. Like I said, we'll be in to join us and so forth. But that, unless we hear differently. Speaking of VM&H, being on the strategic plan, we'll assume we're going to have a Friday of next week for the full board meeting. I will, just for the sake of convenience, board will resend the final. You'll see on the bullet about application of new resources. That's something we've talked about extensively. The idea that we're working to work a scenario which is going just fine, where initial investments and the interest from those investments invest in the Young Explorer downstairs redoing paint job. We're moving along just fine with that. So the endowment is already being put to work. Specific project. And just a litany. The day after the board meeting, we've got it's Bug Day. It's kind of like a Science Saturday, just something extra special. Speaking of members, we have the VA 250 event exhibit completed. Jennifer, this was something that Lila, our new exhibits manager, had kind of got a feel for the institution, materials together and so forth. The event is coming together as far as a kind of a special invitation only type event. That's on February 19th. You all have an invitation to that if you can make it. For fun, our kind of reaching outwards towards the community event is our ticket gala. That is, as we're calling it, Starling. All familiar with Bridgerton, which I am not. I'm simply being told what to wear. That we already have. Jennifer, we have a sale for that already, right? Yeah, she's nodding. So is starting to move. I mentioned before our incoming herpetologist. Last I heard, he has aspirations to at least be here for very well prepared. Marshall Boyd from Research and Collections has done a lot, as has Robbie from Research and Collections, chipping in to make sure that that's going to be a well-attended festival. And as I mentioned before with the trailer in Waynesboro, to keep our presence felt there, we will have a present. And then there is what's called the Museum Trailer Rodeo on the 16th and 17th of May, board meeting weekend. So I cannot do it, but we have a team that's going to be together. The VA 250, but they're going to have food trucks and all kinds of things. So it's good to have that. We continue to have our lecture series at the Nash is now spearheading. Jennifer, I think you looked at than I did. What was that called? It was like social science or something like that?
Like a science show or some kind of sciencey along with social event or at a social, more of a.
For years, there's been this concept cafe, which is a very casual public to rub elbows with scientists. It sounds a lot. We actually run it here at our King, right down the road, about through 6 weeks or so. One of the researchers goes over there, and it is not a standard lecture. It uses slides for 45 minutes to put people to sleep. It tends to be shall. It tends to be and whatnot very fast. So it sounds like something that Carol from Waynesboro, we look forward to hearing more about that. What's going on right now? We feel pretty good about mid-year. We feel good going into this General Assembly. We are not going into things with expectation that our appropriation will be targeted. Of course, our big push is the to capital construction pool. We'll see how that fares. Nonetheless, I will just end prices that we face. These are interagencies that we end up paying for payroll, such as increased utility costs, contractor costs, and we of course have countered that a number of our fees. And I think we've seen a very positive outcome with that. We have not pushed back in terms of that. And time too, we have seen an increase in revenue. Hand up, or is it? No, was that Mike? Did you have a hand up? That may have been my cursor. It looks like you had your, sorry, in good shape, but we are just kind of buckle year. We're always tight at the end of the fiscal year. We walk the time of next board meeting. I'm signing off on all POs to make sure that we're spending funds wisely to finish out the fiscal year. We think it is going to be tight, so we may end up spending a little earlier than usual. But that's just from what we fees and admissions knock it out of the park. But we're just going forward in next fiscal year, that is 2026-27, just to be clear. We feel pretty good about where we're at right now. So I'll toss it back to you, Melanie.
Great. Any questions, Joe? Joe, I'll just highlight a few key takeaways, operational updates, particularly around staffing and exhibits, thoughtfulness of the team, the balancing of capacity growth and long-term plan. I also appreciate the update on Avenue and then the Sterling Avenue Plaza, thanks to operations team with regards to that. Advocacy work just really continues to be of how strategic and disciplined and expanding capacity across the state. Let's see. At our next board meeting, it's always good to hear from staff. Thank you to Lisa for adding that, and continues to hear from staff directly. With staff are really important. And as Joe mentioned, there are several upcoming with our next meeting being virtual. I hope that that will opportunity for trustees to eventually visit on site for any of those to just, it does matter to the serve. Not to mention they're fun. So at this time, I'll just open the floor for any discussion, reflections, anything you'd like to surface, reports in advance of our meeting with all trustees next Friday.